So picture this. You're 19 years old, you're a struggling actor, and you take what you think is a temporary job in real estate just to make ends meet. Now, what if that temporary gig turned into your entire life's work? Well, that's exactly where this story begins, breaking down one agent's absolutely incredible 41-year journey.
And we're not talking about just a year or two here. We are talking about 41 years. That's 4 decades in one of the most fast-paced, ever-changing industries out there. To put that into perspective, just stop and think for a second about how much the world has changed in that time.
I mean, just look at this contrast. On one side, you've got the then, a printed MLS book that was thicker than a phone book, a rotary phone, you remember those, right? A box full of index cards, a Polaroid camera. It was all analog, all manual. And then you look at the now, AI-driven systems, smartphones that are basically supercomputers, video tours, social media ads. It is a completely different universe of tools.
And this really gets to the heart of the whole thing. The central idea is this. Tech makes us faster, but it doesn't replace the timeless principles of this business. So yeah, the tools have changed, like dramatically. But have the fundamentals? That's the real question.
So, after all that time, after 41 years, what's the one truth that never changes? In a world where everything is constantly being updated and replaced, what truly matters? Let's dive in and unpack it. All right, first up, mastering that client connection. This is the bedrock of everything. You see, the author figured out pretty fast that this business isn't really about the properties. It's not about the square footage or the fancy kitchen. Nope, it's about people, and it's about the trust you build with that.
And here is such a powerful way to think about it. Clients won't remember every feature, but they'll always remember how you made them feel. That one sentence just shifts your entire focus, doesn't it? It moves you away from the transactional details and puts you squarely in the human experience. Did you really listen? Did they feel like you cared? Did you show up when things got tough?
This all leads to this wonderful concept the author calls smile moments. This isn't about some big, grand, over-the-top gesture. Not at all. It's about all the small, consistent things you do that, over time, create real trust and build clients for life. It's about stacking up those little wins.
So what does a smile moment actually look like? Well, it's the simple stuff. It's answering your phone promptly. It's following up before they have to ask you to. It's sending a simple, handwritten note in a world of emails. And maybe the most important one, truly listening to what they need. These are the bricks you use to build a foundation of trust.
And you know, this ties right into how you communicate your own value. The author just nails it with this. People don't care what you charge, they care what you're worth. If you can't show people that worth, you're going to be defending your fee forever. The big insight here is that it's almost never a pricing problem, it's a communication problem.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit. We've talked about the external relationships. Now let's look inward at our own habits. Building personal discipline. This is a huge one, because believe me, if you don't take control of your time, this business will absolutely run you ragged.
So here's a simple system. The buckets of time. You just break your day down into 4 key areas. You've got prospecting, you've got client service, you've got personal growth, and, this one's crucial, you've got rest. The whole point is to intentionally put your time and energy into each bucket, because if you don't, you know exactly which ones are going to get ignored. And inside that prospecting bucket, there's this simple but incredibly powerful formula. It's not rocket science, consistent follow-up that builds trust. And that trust, it creates business. It's not magic, it's just a disciplined process. Most people don't say yes on the first interaction. They need to know you're reliable and that you're in it for the long haul. And honestly, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if your main tool is a box of index cards or some fancy AI-powered marketing campaign. The underlying principle is exactly the same. Consistency is what wins.
So we've covered the client connection, we've covered personal discipline. Now let's talk about mindset, because developing a true professional's mindset is so critical, especially when you realize that in any business, the only thing you can really count on is change.
All right, so here's a question I bet you weren't expecting today. What on earth can a pop star teach you about real estate?
The answer? Madonna. Seriously, think about it. Every time the music scene changed, what did she do? She evolved. She reinvented herself. And the best professionals do the exact same thing. They don't sit around and complain about change. They see it as a chance to adapt and stay on top of their game.
I mean, this metaphor is just perfect. You can't sing the same old song year after year and expect people to keep buying your record. You have to evolve right along with the market, with the technology, and with your clients' expectations.
And this right here is the trap you have to avoid.
The second you think you've arrived, the moment you stop trying to learn, that is the exact moment you start to go downhill. Complacency is the absolute enemy of a long and successful career.
So what's the antidote? What's the secret to beating complacency? It comes down to one word. The secret to longevity is curiosity. You've got to stay curious. Curious about people, about the market, about new tech, and about how you can get better. That's the engine that keeps you growing.
Okay, so let's pull all of this together. After all the strategies, all the tactics, all the lessons, what's the real reward? What's the stuff that actually lasts?
This chart just says it all, doesn't it? On one side, you have the temporary stuff, commission checks, trophies that just end up collecting dust on a shelf. But then, look at the other bar, human impact. It's not even a contest. The real, lasting reward is the positive impact you have on people's lives. And here's the best part, when you focus on that human impact first, the sales just naturally follow.
And this is the ultimate truth, the one thing that holds up after 41 years in the trenches. At its core, real estate isn't about houses, it's about humans. That is the one thing technology will never, ever be able to change. And so that really leaves us with a question for you to think about. Technology, markets, tools, they're all going to keep evolving. That's a given. So take a minute and ask yourself, what are the timeless, human-centered truths in your career? What are those fundamental principles you can always come back to, no matter what changes?